Congratulations on your birthday.
I'm very pleased to see you here.
And I'm pleased to be here. And to congratulate you. Wonderful.
We'd like to start this session, and we have now a meeting with Mr. Marcel Adams, and we are very happy to have you here on the occasion of your 93rd birthday. And we would like to maybe start by first introducing the guests who are around here. At least I will pass maybe, I think, and everyone will say a few words, and then we'll continue. But I would like to also, I'm very happy to see Leah, Marcel's granddaughter, and she's daughter of Gil, and she's, and now just we heard that she is actually starting her first step towards the army, and she will probably go to a selected unit. We hope she will enjoy this part. Gil, maybe we'll start and we'll go by this.
My name is Gil Troy, and I'm Marcel's son-in-law, and I'm a professor of history at McGill University. But also, we made Aliyah recently and live here, so I go back and forth. But as a historian, I don't quite have the depth of insight into the world that you have, and I admire all your amazing accomplishments.
I'm Mondero Bormele. I started my Adams Fellowship in 2009, 2010. I'm now finishing my PhD and looking for a postdoc position in the States, and that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Adi.
Molecular biology. I'm studying cancer in different models, inflammation-associated cancer and testicular germ cell tumors.
Hi, I'm Adi. I'm from Tel Aviv University, and I'm just finished my PhD in electrical engineering. Actually, what I was doing in the PhD was optical imaging and biomedical optical imaging. And on January, I'm going to Duke University to start my postdoc. And well, I hope it's going to be interesting as well.
Hello, my name is Sofia from Bar-Ilan University. I'm a PhD student. I have 1 more year, and I hope to find a postdoc position in the next year. I'm working on solar energy. That's it.
Hello, I'm Nathan Keller. I'm from the very first Adams Fellows from first year. Currently, I'm a faculty member at the Bar-Ilan University at the mathematics department. My fields of research are combinatorics and cryptography.
Hi, I'm Ronen. I finished my PhD in chemistry this year, and I'm flying tomorrow for my postdoc in Berkeley in single molecule biophysics.
Yeah.
So,
Good timing.
yeah, very good timing. So, that's it.
What are you working in chemistry?
What did I do in my PhD?
Which field of chemistry? I mean, chemistry.
Biological chemistry,
Biological
peptides,
chemistry.
proteins.
I thought you were going to karaoke.
We'll introduce him. Okay, this is Andy Peretz, my son. I'm Mor Peretz. Graduated PhD in 2009. Spent 2 years in Canada in a postdoc in UFT, University of Toronto. This is Andy. He learned English in Canada. He went to Leo Back in Canada. Currently, we came back a year ago, back to Israel. Got a faculty position in the electrical engineering department in Ben-Gurion University. My field of research is power electronics, mostly renewable energy, solar energy, and others. That's pretty much it.
Hello, my name is Yoav Rosenberg, and I did my PhD at Ben-Gurion University in the geology department, and I specialized in geochemistry I just finished my PhD, and now I have a position in a company called IEI, which is Israel Energy Initiatives, which help to develop natural resources of oil for Israel. So for the last 4 months, I'm working there, and that's it.
Okay, I'm Batsheva Shor, and I'm coordinator of the Adams Fellowship Program.
And I'm Ruth Arnon, I'm the president of the academy.
I'm Marcel Adams. I started this program about 10 years ago. 10?
No, less even.
I am happy with the results, and every year I get additional students who make it, and that gives me a tremendous satisfaction to see that you people convince or support additional people. So 10 years more.
So I was already introduced. I'll say again, my name is Leah. I am Marcel's granddaughter. I just graduated from the Israeli Arts and Science Academy, Tichon Limadim V'Maniyot, here in Jerusalem. I hope to be in Bitachon Meidan, the Army, next year. And
Where did you study?
I studied biology and chemistry, and a little bit of computers.
So she's also smart than me.
Well, I'm trying just to remember a few years ago when I first met. Actually, the first meeting was with Gil. We met before Pesach, and everything looked so vague, and we had no idea exactly where it's leading to. And then there was something which is really very rare. You know, here at the academy, we have people who are ready to give donations. Last week we had here a building which was and built here in the name of the Polonsky, and the building was actually for the project. But at least the way Marcel is acting is he wanted to give to people from the beginning. He wanted to see students. He wanted to see doctorate in science. He wasn't so much fond of what Gil is doing, the humanities part. And he said this is very important for the country. It helps economically. It will be something that he wants to make sure that it will be also big enough. 50. Now, we are talking about between 40 and 50 at a steady state of PhD students. And from the beginning, he wanted to have it in a modest way and not too many ceremonies. The main thing should go to the student, to the PhD students. And I hope on our side, we've been trying to do it in the way you were thinking of, what we see. And I think I'm very happy to see the fruits of your initiative already. And you see Berkeley and other universities are being involved, and also we have in industry, so not just universities. I hope we fulfill what you were thinking of, and I think what you see is just the beginning. Many years ago, I worked for the Council of Higher Education, and we started a program which was called Alumni scholarships, fellowships. And we started with 20. The figure 20 is not that big. But when you think, you multiply it, say, by 30 years, 25 years, then the numbers are becoming real critical for system. And if we talk in the long run, say 10 years from now, we'll have something like in the order of, depends who are going to university also, but something around 200 to 300 Adams Fellows in the universities. And this can be really critical for higher education. I think we are doing a proper job. We should also never forget Batsheva. She is unique, really. She is, I think, one of the most devoted Zionists I've ever met in the real world of it, trying to do it with compassion, with love, with real devotion, and she knows everyone here. And of course, I think she's fulfilling it far more than personally as an institution we could have done. And Batsheva is doing her heart and soul and mind, really. And we are doing whatever she said, you know, and became part of your family, I think. And thank you really very much.
One of the things I learned from watching Marcel is he likes compliments, he likes success, but he also likes to see how can things be better. And he always asks, what's wrong, what's missing? And we've asked these questions over the years to you, to current fellows, and to alumni. And I think out of that questioning process, we discovered that we needed a website, and we're just now in the process of launching the website. So we'd really like to, it's up, right? Yeah. So we'd really like to ask you, open-ended, how can we help you better? How can the experience of Adams Fellowship, both during the years that you're receiving it and afterwards, be improved? What can we do to help?
I would like to say one word. That this year we had the first, how would I call it, grandson or offsprings of the program, because a student of one of the Adams Fellow that came back, his student won the Adams Fellowship this year. So this is really continuation of the process, and we are very proud of it. I mean, of course, we are all very happy about this program that, first of all, it helps us keep young, because we keep the contacts with young people. We meet with Adams Fellows twice a year, both in this occasion and also in the event that we hold in May. And all the Adams Fellow come and they have a few lectures, and some of them also give lectures. And it's an event that is very important for all the all the participants in the program. So as Mayor said, I hope that the number of the Adams Fellow will grow and they will add something to the science in Israel.
I was just being polite. I was asking a serious question. So, please, thank you.
Okay, so I would say, first of all, on the positive side, the Adams Fellowship is a door opener. It brings you ahead of your, puts you ahead of your peers. You won a very, very prestigious fellowship. Gets you better positions in postdocs, in other fellowships to be won. For example, I won consecutively a Bikura fellowship from the ISF for a postdoc. And now this program ended, but this was one of the more impacting factors for winning it. I'm pretty certain of it. They actually asked me about that fellowship during the interview, about the Adams Fellowship. Having said that, I would say I think the advantage of the Adams Fellowships, as opposed to others PhD competitive fellowships, such as the Azrieli or the Klo, is that is strongly tied to the academia. I think that's a very great advantage. And I would, let's say with my difficulties now, I would expect it would add an added value to of winning the fellowship if there was some sort of Afro continuation that, such as maybe because it's tied. I'm not saying funding another, track of fellowship, but maybe get the academia more involved in the path of the alumni are doing, and maybe help us promote our way in an easier way, such that it will be easier to other alumni to get accepted into universities and faculties. Maybe, there are many ideas. I have, lots of ideas running in my head. I'm not sure what's appropriate for this circle, but what I would expect is not expect, like would be a contribution if it was a continuation for that. Not only just coming as a social recreational and even, showing off our results and everything, but maybe more like some sort of, we all know this is like a circle of excellence. Everyone that has been selected to this fellowship is supreme in his field. And there are not many such as us, with all modesty aside. I think it's a unique opportunity, especially when it's tied to the academia, to lift these applicants into a next level. But that's just my opinion.
From my personal experience, beyond the living allowance, of course, the budgets for conferences were one of the most beneficial things I had in the fellowship. I mean, I was able to go to conferences that were completely impossible for me to go to under any other circumstances, because my lab simply didn't have the money to send anybody to those conferences. And it made a huge difference. I think for me personally, both in terms of the experience, but also in terms of the ability to get exposed to things in the scientific world and meet people. And I think that was one of the greatest things, because this is something that is very hard for most PhD students. They usually have this opportunity at best once or twice if their supervisor is generous in their PhD. And Adams Fellows have 4 of these opportunities if they go all the way. And having said that, I think one possible thing is that this budget for conferences is currently limited to conferences and workshops. But there are actually other things, research related, that you might be able to do with a budget like this. Things like going to collaborating labs and doing experiments there. This could be just as beneficial as going to conferences. And a more extreme idea is that this could be used as some sort of research allowance, which is money that can be spent according to the fellow's decisions on research-related things, such as materials. This is something that takes place in certain fellowships, although they're mostly for postdoctoral fellowships abroad. And maybe it's possible to expand the possible things that can be done with this budget. And of course, this is up to the fellow's decision if this happens. He can decide if he wants to go to a collaborating lab or go to a conference, and he can benefit from either of these. And that is one possibility of maybe expanding the scope of what can be done in this program.
Okay. First, I want to support 2 points that were raised by the previous speakers. First, I believe that indeed the Adams Fellowship opens doors for some other future achievements. For example, Mayor mentioned the Alumni Fellowship. So I have received it this year, and I believe that the Adams Fellowship I won several years before was surely a factor in the decision to award this Alumni Fellowship. And of course, once you get one fellowship, then getting the other ones in the future is easier. So this is one point. So thanks again. Second point about the travel budget, I can represent maybe the opposite end of the spectrum. I came from a place where my advisors usually had quite a lot of money, and they were willing to give me any money I wanted to go to conferences. So I didn't really need this money for conferences, and I indeed used it only one of the 4 years. But if I would like to use money for some other things, like maybe some equipment or professional literature, this is something which I think that the grants do not allow advisors to give students, so other uses I could not make. So I do not think that was a very huge loss, but maybe it will be indeed good to expand the ability to use this travel budget. Another small point, at my years of the fellowship, one of the major advantages of this fellowship over the other ones was that it was starting at a much earlier stage of the PhD studies. I have got this fellowship starting with my second year of PhD. I don't know, is this available today also? Okay, I think that this is very important to maintain this factor, because in other fellowships, you usually get a fellowship at the 4th year of PhD, and then either you stay 2 more years in PhD in order to use all the fellowship, and then you quite stop a career as a career for a year or 2, or you use the fellowship only for 1 year. I think that people even believe that in other fellowships they do it on purpose, since they do not want to give all the money. So here I think that this is a point which is quite important to maintain. And my last point, I think that there is a try to make some community of the alumni of the program. I think that the website is some part of this try. It seems that this still does not fully succeed. For example, in these alumni meetings, I think that from the first 3 or 4 years of the program, I'm the only one who is coming every year, and the other ones are in some other places. So I do not know how to do it. I think that if we manage to find some way to establish such a community, I think that it would be beneficial, and maybe indeed the academy can do something in it, because I think that at least for some of the people who are at the academia at the early stages of their career, a connection to the academy looks like a good thing to maintain. So maybe if the academy looks involved, even if it does not have any financial side on it, maybe it will help to establish this community. I do not know. I am coming. I do not know what to do to make other people come. Actually, I'm coming in order to see Mr. Adams every year. So that I'm just happy to see you, as lively as every previous year. So I'm coming just for this.
Well, you're invited back. So I'm happy to. Are there other comments? Because I'm happy to give some response.
Well, I must say I don't have a lot to add as far as improvements. I just want to support some of the things that have been said. Well, first about getting the other fellowships, since you already mentioned that. So I guess it really helped me to get the Rothschild Fellowship for the postdoc. I'm sure that, as they said, it's kind of a yeah, it's kind of continuation. I hope it's going to help in the future as well. And I really enjoyed also in addition to the seminars, we also started 2 years ago, I think, the trips, which I think really helped. I mean, we do meet at the seminars and talk to each other, but the field trips are something like more social, and we get to really get a full day talking to people. And it was also really, they were both very interesting. The one in Sorek and the one that was a year before in Bet Shean. It was really, really interesting, and I think it really should continue. And I also think, like what you said, I mean, if there's a way to get the fellows that already finished, the alumni, to communicate more. I hope that when I'm coming back, I'll also come. But I don't know, maybe meeting just for the alumni. I don't know, something like that. will help us to strengthen the connections between us. I think it is one of the things that really makes this fellowship not just money, but something more than that. So that's it.
I just wanted to say that several of the alumni who are in faculty positions in Israel, it just so happened that right now there are conferences abroad. So the only one really is Natan and Moore, who are currently working in academia. And I think if we made special meetings just for alumni, it would be nice. A lot of them are abroad still in their postdocs, so they're, so they're not around.
Maybe in a few years when
when there'll be more that have returned. But there are several in industry as well, but they're also busy, and several more were supposed to come, but it could be that they're outside. Maybe I'll see if they're waiting outside the door. So.
Now we have a forum, so maybe we can help with communication.
Just if I may very quickly, first of all, it's really interesting because in your comments you zeroed in on some of the original vision that Marcel had. He was on the board of Tel Aviv University, and when they launched the Dan David Awards, and his reaction was he thought it was fantastic, but he said, why invest $1 million prizes in people who have made it? He said, if I want to help out, I want to help people at the very beginning of their careers. And not only that, he was most interested in finding people who are at what he called a decision tree. At that part where they weren't sure would they go into academia for another MA or a PhD, or would they end up going to industry because they needed the money. And so it was very important to him that he invest in people in the early stage. And that's why it is a four-year fellowship. When we look for people early on, one of the things he was also looking for was to create this community, because one of the first gifts he and his late wife Annie had given had been to business systems in Tel Aviv University, and there they spontaneously created an alumni network which would bring in, I don't know if it was every month or every couple of months, different speakers from business and industry and politics to speak to the alumni. But our big breakthrough was indeed when we stumbled, and I wish I could say that it was an act of genius, but as you well know in the lab, sometimes it's just serendipity. We stumbled onto each other. And we also saw that just, the name Adams meant nothing. I mean, to us it means something, but, in Israel. But if we could link with the academy, we would have what you guys call that force multiplier effect. And so I think this notion of community, what I'm also hearing is a keyword that we're using more and more at McGill, is mentoring. And what you're saying is that if we could tap into the academy for mentoring, that would be very helpful. And I don't want to put any of the executive director or the president on the spot, but I'm willing to say that I'm open to having a conversation where we brainstorm about this and see if there are things we can do to make sure that we fulfill that vision by tapping into the tremendous network you have in the academy and seeing how to work together. So I really appreciate these ideas. And I just have to say one more thing about the research allowance, which is when I was a young graduate student, I was getting $11,000 a year for a fellowship, and then I became a lecturer at Harvard, and I got $30,000 a year, and I thought I had won the lottery. But to me, the extra $20,000 wasn't the big thing, but the big thing was they gave 10% of your salary to a very broad research fund. It could be for conferences, it could be for books, and then I felt, wow. And as long as you gave expenses. So we're also open to hearing from you. I don't want to, again, make any promises with the cameras rolling, but I'm hearing you. I understand exactly what you're saying, and we'll have to figure out how to build it. That idea came from Bernard Shapiro, who was what they call principal, the president of McGill University. And when we met with him and told him our idea for the fellowship, he said, look, Israel's a small country. And one of the things you have to do is you have to force them and facilitate the students to go outside. And that was why the idea of research funding, that it wasn't just for expenses, but it was really to help you have an opportunity once a year to go outside of Israel and meet your colleagues and also hear different ideas and exchange different thoughts. So we have to see if we're comfortable with that, but I'm very happy to hear this feedback, and we'll really try to take it seriously and see what we can do with it.
We have one more graduate who just came in.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Monique. I graduated from the Technion. I graduated from the Technion this year in electrical engineering. And I'm leaving for a postdoc at Princeton in August, at the end of August. That's about it, I guess. Nothing. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all. I also have something to give. I want to thank you to Mr. Adams. It's been amazing to be able to conduct my PhD studies with your support, free of financial concerns, how to take care of my family. I have 2 boys, and it's allowed me the peace of mind that I needed to excel at what I did. And especially for the extra 4 months after I graduated, I was still here. I could not start my postdoc because I had a small child, and it allowed me to continue working with my supervisor, Professor Shammai. I think it also opened a lot of doors for me for postdoc fellowships, and which allowed me to go abroad. And that's it. Thank you.
You're proud of the good work.
Well, yeah, sure. Do I need that?
Yeah.
Just
For the recording.
I speak loud.
Yeah, just give them a,
For the recording, it's good.
just a line or two, just say. Marcel? Just, if you have any final thoughts before we're finishing, we're going to give the speech in the other room.
Okay. My friends.
No, Marcel.
Now, do you want to say something to the graduates?
Oh, yeah.
בהצלחה.
Good luck.
הצלחה רבה. תמשיכו ככה. I hope to see you again further ahead.
Amen. Amen.
And,
Thank you. Now